Good morning. Welcome back to Morning at 10 TV. My name is Malaki Villa-Odera, and today we go to the polls. I'm sure you should have been there already because it was supposed to take place from 7 a.m. and this exercise will stretch to around 4 p.m. today. And so get out, go make your voice heard. Remember, your vote is your voice. So today in studios, we'll be talking about the campaigns that we saw very rigorous over the weekend. They ended yesterday, and so we'll be having a look at how the campaigns went and what it meant for you, the electorate. And also thereafter, still in the same show, we will be talking about the security detail that has been deployed in the different polling stations just to ensure that today we have peace maintained regardless of whatever political parties will be having the leaders stand for this particular polls. And so in studio, I have Mr. Emilian Kaima, who is the police spokesperson. Welcome to the show, sir.
Great to be here. Good morning,
Thank you.
Viewers.
Good morning. We also have Mr. Henry Muguzi, who is the Executive Director, Alliance for Finance and Monitoring. Thank you so much for making time, gentlemen.
Yeah, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Good morning, viewers.
Good morning. Now, we saw heated campaigns over the weekend from when the campaign started to yesterday. Like most of the villages, it was you could not find peace. A lot of noise was happening. And so when we had the 2016 elections, about 2.4 trillion shillings was pumped into campaigns. What are we seeing for this local council elections?
Well, I think what we saw did take everybody almost by storm, because we had not expected that campaigns at the village level would be as commercialized as we saw in 2016. And of course it starts slowly, because in the beginning we only see money being used and in very high amounts in villages that are kind of urban. So the village setting was tame until yesterday, when all hell broke loose. So what have we seen? We've seen candidates investing massively in publicity. In terms of posters, you would see a poster you would imagine to belong to a MP candidate. They have invested massively in PS systems, in mobile PS systems, in trucks, in hiring kadodi dancers, and you know, making rounds, in fueling borders, you know. I was surprised when I went to rural Wakiso and I met a team of 50 border riders fueling up 2 liters each.
Wow.
And this is a village. And of course, but also the real giving out of money. I spoke to a few candidates, you know, who confessed they were, you know, they would get groups of 5 women, you know, give them 10,000, go share. You see, this level of commercialization. But also the other thing that took us by storm is you would see a candidate investing so much, and then you wonder, a candidate upon whose election you are going to earn a salary of what, 100,000 per month. It means in 5 years term, now it's going to be less. You're going to earn what, about 5 million? You are able and happy to spend 10 million plus. How are you going to recoup this money? That is something we do not understand.
Does it tell us something about the electorate and what they expect campaigns to look like, so to speak? Absolutely.
I spoke to a number of voters at the village level in their houses, and I made this on purpose. But and the question was, why is it that often we don't see as many of you turning up to vote during local elections, yet when it's MP or presidential elections, you all turn out? And they get to, you see, those ones, the campaigns of elections have something, you know, these ones are cold and so on. What we were trying to bring across was that the campaigns for presidential and member of parliament have money. These ones are devoid of it. So you get to see that expectations are high. I did speak to a few candidates, and they spoke to me, a few of them that had you could not see a poster, but they've been nominated. And they told me that, you see, we've been trying to go door to door, but you see, when you present your manifesto, the electorate seem to buy it, but they say, okay, now we understand, but okay, but what are you leaving behind? So we are also having a very commercialized electorate that has to change. Well, and let me say this as well, that you see, these LC1 leaders we are going to elect are also going to have judicial powers. Right. So if you are going to make life very difficult for them, you know, in terms of contesting. And truth be told, that you see, it's always not a very enjoyable thing for you to be spending and spending and spending, because we are living in very difficult financial times. So when you make life difficult for these candidates, you know, it compromises democracy, it compromises the quality of leadership you are going to have.
The quality of leadership that you will have as a citizen.
Absolutely.
Mr. Emilian Kaima, during that period where we were having heated campaigns in different regions, in different, you know, kind of villages, have we had any security issues rising up during the campaign period?
Largely no, but of course the challenges are there.
Right.
When emotions override the power of reason, you know what happens. Crime, either assaults or the fear of being attacked or the actual attacks. In a couple of days, some people have been reported to have been murdered. And some of these have been into these positions, vying for these positions. Now, investigations must prove that they were killed because of presenting themselves as candidates or having participated in this. We cannot conclude it. But that may sound innocent, yet it is not innocent. That's why we have subjected to an investigation. But the heated campaign, for me, poses something positive. I want to look at it positively, that people want to vie for offices. I hope these are people who are credible, who have the moral authority to drive their villages, their communities to a certain direction, not to hoodwink them, because the cost of electing a bad leader are enormous.
Right.
That we have said. When you commercialize life, you suffer. If somebody who is standing for LC1, you put pressure on them to give you money and they give it to you, they're going to recoup the money from you. And how do they do it? By breaking the law or oppressing you. If, for example, you want to acquire a passport, the beginning is at LC. So if they determine a fee irregularly because they want to get their money, probably they will do it, and that's not good. We have suffered with this absence of an effective LC in place for a long time. Land-related conflicts were just soaring because some of the plots that we have seen have been sold more than 2, 3, 4 times, bearing the same signature and same stamp. Some people have had stamps in their pockets wherever they go. So a deal is done, they append their signature. And some people have been cheated to the core. It's a story I tell every other day. I went to Matuga some time back, and 3 women who work in a market had bought plots, each of them, and they had been denied access to their own plots because the landlord who sold to them was there, had no problem. The ones who bought had no problem. Land was not encumbered. But chairman and his team were saying, we want our 10%. Without this, you will not step a foot here. And they had goons who were intimidating these people. So you see all this. This is not okay. I hope the leaders we are going to elect at our village level, which is the foundation of security, are those that are credible, that are worth it. Fortunately, when I sat here and your field officer was interviewing them, the voices are sane, the expectations are okay, except expecting too much also.
Expecting too
Please don't
much.
expect LCs to make your roads, to bring electricity. That's not their role.
But whose fault is it? Because we all witnessed these candidates going around telling people, if you vote for me, I will make sure that the roads are, you know, are good. We'll make sure that the drainages are up to perfect, you know, conditions. Whose fault is it? The electorate, I think, has been taken advantage of.
All of us are responsible. If you ask me a question, or the 10 of us, and each of us answered it differently, the problem is with all of us. I think we have to be clear as leaders at our different levels. I've asked the same question to MPs. Why do you promise things you can't do? You know what they tell you? this is politics.
I think this is what people want to hear.
Yes.
Because you see, the situation on the ground is such that people want these services. And of course, they don't know who exactly is going to provide these services. But let me hasten to add on what Emian has just said. We did go deeper to investigate. First of all, where are these candidates getting the money? So for those villages that are urban or peri-urban, you get to see that there are some kind of either they are land brokers or they are estates agents who are bankrolling these people. So land is at stake here. So we need to be careful when we are electing these leaders, because most likely that who has spent a lot, and you've seen, and I was speaking to some people in one area yesterday, and I wanted to understand, what's your feeling? You see, a lot of money is being, shown here. Right. And they're saying, we are worried as the electorate. When these fellows get to be elected, are they not going to start with number one? It's now by law, every citizen must have a village ID, and you must pay 20,000. Is it not going to, are they not going to pop up and say, it's now by law, you have to contribute 50,000 for security in order for them to recoup their money? But most importantly, those land grabbers that are investing in these candidates, what do you think is their interest? So I think we need to be very careful when we set out to vote today.
So when you're picking a bribe from a candidate, be very careful, because like you're saying, they have to recoup that money once they're in office. Let's look at the issue of security, and I know police will be working very closely with these local leaders to ensure that we have security executed from that level up. What structures have you put in place to ensure that the implementation is up to speed?
First of all, at this level today, at the time where people are going to elect their leaders, we have gotten to involve ourselves with the leadership in the villages, with the EC, through our structures. The regional police command takes care of his region or her region, together with the DPCs and the OCs, so they know their area of responsibility, they know which areas are volatile, which areas are safe, and then they strategically deploy. At every center where we are going to do the elections, there is a constable, a polling constable, who ordinarily is a policeman, but not by law that he should be a policeman. And we have a working relationship with the sister security agencies. And how we are going to, we have a multiplier effect where we shall deploy along the routes. Of course, we know strategically where trouble could erupt. This morning, somebody was calling me, a citizen said, here, there are some youth who are promising trouble. And I said, around where? Around this primary school along the northern bypass. And they told me that place, so I called the DPs. Before I entered, the DPs said, no, we know that area could be chaotic, but we have a strategic patrol vehicle at this center that communicates to the other one, but also the foot patrollers. Basically what we want, let Ugandans exercise their right. It's important to vote for leaders that we like. We know that as we are going to line behind those that we like, it does not mean that the rest, if I don't line behind you, I hate you. No, it doesn't mean that. But you see, power is very sweet. If somebody knows that they are losing power because of your inaction or your action, maybe it's not going to be very sweet. It's easier to say it. So what may happen? We are also planning for that. Some people might be disruptive because they know all is lost. If they are, the readiness on our part to apprehend them is total. We are not going to encourage our polling constable to begin to discuss, to see the merits and demerits. No. His role is to understand the situation, coordinate with the officer in charge. For quick intervention, we pick you, we take you. We hope this is going to be done with ease. Where there are volatile areas, we shall intervene. But let me tell you, we are one of those that are very happy that at the end of the day, we are going to have leaders elected. We hope they will do what they have to do. That gap is the foundation. any house is going to be firm because of a firm foundation.
Right.
We have had a loose foundation for long, and that had been a recipe for trouble. All these land grabs were happening because there is a gap that's exploited.
Right.
However, if we elect you, if people have elected you, then they have expectations. They even have hope. If you don't perform to our expectation, next time, out.
Yes.
That's why I think periodical, transparent elections give hope. People will not even go to war because there's, okay, if it's not good enough, next time, they're going to throw you out.
Yes.
So they will not come to murder you, they will not come to commit these crimes. Those who grab land and hide under leadership, I think their times are becoming, their space is becoming smaller, in my view. If these leaders toy the line, my expectation again, government, I'm part of government.
Right.
Government must work out a mechanism where orientation is given to these leaders. We give them some form of training so they know what their roles are and what their limitations are. Short of that, I mean, it's going to be business as usual.
True.
You oppress the people and people are voiceless. And this is what I hear, the voice of the voiceless. Who is the voice of the voiceless? Our leader, Mkama Wange. Some people will come to you and say, take me to the president. Say, why do you want to see the president? And through me. Because my leader is not doing what they have to do. If everything is going to be done by the president, then there is a problem. So I think some form of orientation ought to be done to help them touch base with the reality, to know what their powers are. And I know, really, chairpersons and their teams do a great work. Some of them do very bad work.
Yeah.
But the monitoring, who monitors them? Who holds them to account? If you arrested a chairperson in my village, my friend, there's going to be war. Yet we should be able to arrest if he has committed a crime.
Okay.
So this orientation is important, so they know what they are going to do.
So they know their roles and
Yes,
implement
and
according to
under the
their
law.
mandate
Exactly.
under the law. Mr. Henry, you are on the ground, and Mr. Emilian pointed to a very important factor, which is voter bribery, them being coerced. We have issues with vote buying, and at the end of the day, like we said, these people have to recoup what they invested in the campaigns. When you are on the ground, are these some of the issues that are coming out strongly? Is the electorate mature enough to understand, fine, I was bought for soda by this, candidate, but today as I go to the polls, I will not line up behind him, I will line up behind the candidate I know will give me the best services that I deserve as a resident. Is the electorate mature?
No, let me tell you this, that research has shown that vote buying is such an effective tool in situations where voting is open. So we expect vote buying to be very effective, and many of them to apply it. We saw it during the women council elections, that people would stage themselves along ways that lead to where they are voting from, and they will be dishing out 1,000, 1,000. And you see, what makes vote buying very effective in these LC elections is that you cannot dare take my money and line on another candidate.
Yes.
And therefore, and many of them are going to use this. So please look out, voters, citizens. Do not accept this money, because you see, the moment you accept this money, you have sold your right to hold this leader accountable to that person that has, financed him. And that person would grab him from your face. And therefore, let us not allow, and this person who grabs your leader away could actually be a land grabber.
Right.
So let us, the electoral is at stake. We are electing leaders that are going to, first of all, have judicial powers, They are supposed to provide security. They are supposed to, to be the linchpins,
right,
between the government and us. So we need to be careful. And let me also echo something he said. I think the time has come for government to seriously consider training these leaders, because truth be told, that many of them are coming into these offices without knowing what are my roles. If I have judicial roles, how do I execute these? So we need to build their capacity in terms of exercising judicial powers, capacity in terms of security, capacity in terms of economic development, capacity in terms of other social issues that they have to take on.
You mentioned that most of the campaigners, the candidates, were actually financed by entities that have, you know, interest in these particular villages, maybe land grabbers and all that. Is this lawful?
This is unlawful. This is unlawful. So we have encouraged competitors, the candidates with whom they are competing, to collect as much evidence, because you see, we do know that an election can be, you know, overturned if we have evidence. So, but we are looking out to this. We have deployed a number of young men and women, you know, making rounds. Some of them will try to take photographs. We want to expose these, but we expect vote buying to be an issue today. Please, 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 fellow Ugandans, do not take this money, because you are taking money from a land grabber. You are taking money from someone who does not wish you good. Not wish you good.
I understand that we have a question from the ground. Andrew Chamagera, if you can hear me.
Such a very tense day. Nice to have you, Mr. Emilian Kaima. Sebo buza mkuru Emilian Kaima ali mu studio mubuze ekibuzo.
Afande tusanyusa okuwuliza. Nze bampita Yusufu Kibirige Sempagala. Nze kyamane w'abavubuka b'ekyebando mulonde. Mpozi mu kulonda kwa leero. Naddala okulonda kwa LC kuno kwe tulimu. Tututa akabanga kanene nnyo ng'eggwanga teriri mu kulonda okulembeze bwa kyalo nga buno. So twasembayo okulonda emabegako nga ebitundu byaffe bino byali bikyali bya kyalo. Kati okulonda kwa bugumu oba ebitundu bikuze abantu bangi nnyo. Luli twali tulina ennyumba nga 1,000 kati tulina ennyumba nga 2,000. Naye abantu balaga ennyonda nti bazze baagala okulonda. Naye olw'obungi bw'abantu n'obutebenkevu bw'ekitundu ndaba nga tebutumala okusinziira ku mbeera eriwo wano ku ground.
Bw'oyogera ku ground abakulembeze poliisi ki ekitakumala?
Okuzira ddala abakulembeze bakulembedde ebbanga ddene balayika bakoowu. Ensonga ya security bagikwata ngeri yakasoobo. Kati abantu abangi bwe bati poliisi gye tulina mu kitundu tetumala. Police station eriko abasirikale 3. Kyokka bakuuma abantu 1,000. Kati ffe tulina abalonzi abasukka mu 600 abagenda okuŋŋaanira wano ku gulawundi emu. Ne twali tusaba mu ngeri ya security kuba tuli bayonta twagala okufuna obukulembeze. Ate obukulembeze obuyise mu mateeka. Twetaaga ku buyambi. Singa kisoboka afande ne batwongerayo ku ngeri ya security. Netulaba nga okulonda kwaffe kutambula bulungi kubanga waliwo abantu abamu abalowooza nti bajja kukozesa omukisa guno ogwa insecurity batabangula okulonda kwaffe.
Naye mwe ng'abatuuze mwenyigira nnyo mu kintu kye bayita community policing, mukimanyiiko?
Enso erwaffe tetutera kubiraba.
Community policing?
Yes sebo.
Emilian wuyo mubuuze.
Ffe tuwulira biwulire naye wano ewaffe ekyebano ate nga kumpi nnyo kyebano nansana wano tetufunanga ku mukisa ogwo. So omuntu alaba omupoliisi amulabanga mulabi amutya n'okumutya. Emisomo ng'egyo giba gyetaagisa.
Weewaawo.
Poliisi n'omuntu wa bulijjo tukwatagana bulungi.
Weewaawo. Well, there you have it, Mala. I'm sure Mr. Emilian Kaima understood exactly what the gentleman's question was.
So much, Andrew Chamagera, for that. Mr. Emilian Kaima, kindly respond.
Thank you. I think it's in order that I speak the very language he spoke.
Right, correct.
Mukulu Yusuf webale bibuuzo ndowooza alaze nti ewaabwe abantu baali batono juzi kati abantu bangi nnyo. Ekyo kitegeeza nti balina okufuna obukulembeze obulungi obugenda okuba nga bugatta abantu bano abangi era nga bubategeera ate nga bugatta n'ebitongole ng'ekyaffe ekyabakuumaddembe. Ekyokuba nga beetaaga obukuumi olwaleero okubanga okulonda kugenda kutambula bulungi ekyo ne bw'otaakisabe kubanga twakibaze era weekiri. Mbadde nkeberanga the numbers, the polling stations are over 60,000.
Right.
Policemen in the country are 43,000. So I was asking, how are we going to do this It's simple. In Old Kampala alone, we have 112 polling stations, Old Kampala. Guess how many policemen we have?
How many?
496. So that means at each center we shall have a police officer whose duty is to see what is happening and to coordinate with a system of patrol. And of course the commander will be in a strategic place trying to understand abenga ayambako munne. And it's not written anywhere that when I'm the DPC Old Kampala, I don't give support to my neighboring DPC. No.
Okay.
So we are ready to support this exercise. It's our constitutional duty. I want to ask Ugandans, mugende mulonde abakulembeze be mwagala awatali obakuba ku mukono. But like what he said, Henry, when you take somebody's money, you are guilty. More so, he's going to see you or
Right.
she. So if you took the money, maybe you are not going to exercise your right. You have sold your soul. You are so cheap. We are safer electing people because of merit. Let's not be cheap. We are not a cheap country. We are not cheap people. However, if we choose that direction, so we must not expect different results.
Right.
We shall suffer the consequences of our action. Life has two things, fundamental things, cause and effect. What you do has a direct correlation with the outcomes that we interface with. So for us, we think we are going to get the best out of this. We are going to provide the best service. We hope Ugandans are up to the job. I'm happy there is that.
Yes.
What they are showing us is the readiness to stand for these officers. I hope they're right people. We gave a warning last evening. There are people, especially downtown, who are promising hell to those who will not vote for them. You cannot be a leader who is going to promise the electorate hell even before you get the power.
And that brings me to another question. Just to bring you up to speed to what people are saying on Twitter, there's one who is saying people look like they're scared, there is fear that there will be chaos, but I hope that people stay safe, go and vote and go back home. That's a very key concern, and also, like you're saying, it is attributed to the method of voting. So what is the police doing to ensure that we have peace during, and not just during, but after the polls?
The engagement, the strategic deployment, our visibility, our readiness to engage with you, the media, with the community. But also what we did earlier, we knew that it's possible that a man is going to stand there and part of his family members are not going to stand behind him or her.
Correct.
Home, we might have trouble home. So the engagement goes beyond this. But we want to ask you, Ugandans, you have your heads and your brains.
Do you have the structures in place
Yes,
after to ensure there's peace in all the villages
we
after
do.
the polls?
We do because from the regional police commander to the DPC to the OC at the village, the OC has been doing more than just being the OC of the police. So the trust you build with the people in your village gives you the opportunity to receive this feedback.
Okay.
So we are ready. Our eyes and ears are on the ground. We will intervene in any of the matters. We actually expected some contestants to play the other funny card of kidnap. We are happy it did not happen. I know someone in this country who has played it and has gone as far as parliament. But that was his trump card. Towards the end, he plays the card of kidnap, that has been kidnapped. He abandons the vehicle with some chicken blood. And we just let it be.
So
as a country.
your eyes are on the ground to ensure that
Yes,
peace is maintained.
Yeah, but I want to ask Ugandans, we play a secondary role. It all starts with your head, with the decisions you're going to make. I hope if I were a candidate, politics is very hard. I would even talk to my family and say, guys, you can go and exercise your rights, whichever you want. Let's not have trouble at home, but please vote for me.
Okay.
So we go. If they don't vote for me, I don't take it personally.
Okay, thank you so much. Your last remarks, Mr. Henry?
Yeah, I think the time has come for us Ugandans to have a serious conversation about the type of democracy we want to have. Do you want to have a democracy that is enveloped in commercialization and therefore produces the leaders that cannot serve us? Or do you want a democracy where we are able to set our minds free and be able to elect leaders who can serve us, leaders who have the quality that we desire? I think we need to have a serious conversation as the country Uganda.
All right. So as you go out to vote, ensure that you vote rightfully. Vote for someone who will represent you accurately for the 5 years that they will be in office. Maintain peace, and let's go out in big numbers and make this great decision that will affect each and every one of us. My name is Malaki Vilaudera. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for being part of this great discussion. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you.
That has been it for Solution segment. NTV Morning at NTV still continues. Up next is Take Notes.